Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, hello everyone. This is Derek Wright once again. And I'm not going to spend too much time with the introductions today. We're going to IHS next week, and we got in a lot of great horns for everyone to try. I have 8 premium horns with me to compare. I've never had this many at once in my studio, so if you've ever wanted to see a video where you get to see a ton of horns directly compared, well, this is for you. To be clear, we have far more horns than these 8 coming. We have many horns in the $4,000 to $6,000 range that we'll be taking. We'll be taking a lot of our Varus horns, and we have lots of used horns that we'll be taking as well, including some great used Yamahas that aren't even on the site yet. Well, that being said, let's get right to the comparisons. I'm going to do this by brand because most of the brands here, aside from Schmid, I have multiple models for. So why don't I go ahead and start off with Ricco Kuhn. One moment, I think I left my mouthpiece in the other room. Right, that's a little embarrassing. I did everything to make sure I got all of these horns together and everything set, and then you realize that you don't have your mouthpiece. This horn is not a horn that will be on the table. We will have, not this particular horn, but we will have an innovation with us that Ricco Kuhn is bringing to the symposium for us. This particular innovation is my innovation, which is why it has the hand guard and everything. Just a few quick notes. We will have brass witches at the show, and I have mine right on my horn. I love it. Super quick to write notes. And we have another new product. We have our Varus hand guards for French horn. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but the Varus hand guards are made in our shop, and they're made of real cowhide. We are in Fort Worth, and leather and cowhide is kind of our thing. So we have access to lots of it. These hand guards are super thin, which reduces the effect that they have on the sound of your horn. And they feel great. This particular matte black one has a nice suede feel to it that adds some extra grip to the horn. But anyway, let me start off by playing the Ricco Kuhn Innovation. So obviously I like that horn. Again, it is my horn. It's very easy to play while maintaining a great depth of sound. There's really nothing quite like it. And I say this with all seriousness. I think this horn competes with the very best of the best. So those of you out there looking for used Rauchs or Bergs, or looking at any other premium maker, I would encourage you to include the Ricco Kuhn Innovation on your list, because it does compete on that level without being $20,000. So the next horn I have is, and I have to look at the model numbers because these horns kind of look the same. This is the normal Ricco Kuhn 293. So the non-innovation Kuhn 293. So the sense that I got between those two horns, the 293 is noticeably heavier than the Innovation. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a heavier horn than the Innovation by quite a bit. The sound on the 293 is more covered than the Innovation. Although because of its weight, it has a ton of power. The Innovation has a lot of power too, but this one feels even more powerful. However, it's a little less sensitive, and overall, I'd say it's less easy and fun to play than the Innovation. I'm not tempted by this to move away from the Innovation, but this is still a very, very, very nice horn. So anyone who plays a Kuhn 293 can tell you. By the way, I am monitoring chat here. Hi to everyone who said hi so far. I have Peter, Cara, and Eric. If you have any questions about any of these horns or anything regarding horn or the IHS symposium, please go ahead and ask it in the chat. And please share if you I would love to hear your thoughts on the sound of these different horns that I am comparing. But moving on, we have another Kuhn to compare, which is right here. So as far as pricing is concerned, the Ricco Kuhn Innovation is around $11,000. The regular Ricco Kuhn is about $9,000, and this is the Ricco Kuhn 283, which is about $75,000. Let's see how it performs. So it feels to me that the 283 is more constrained than the 293 or the 293 Innovation. The sound is a little more closed. It's not quite as open. It doesn't respond quite as well. It's a less fun horn to play than the 293 or the Innovation, and I don't think the sound is quite as good. That being said, wow. This is the best $7,500 horn I have ever tried. I don't think anything else comes close. If you're in that price range, this is the horn to get. I can't think of another horn at that price range that plays nearly as well, as consistent, and has as good a sound as the Ricco Kuhn 283. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at Paxman. This is the Paxman 20. For this video, I had to take it out of the plastic wrap. So I am the first, or at least the first person outside of the Paxman factory that will get a chance to play this horn. Even though I test out new horns all the time, it's always I don't know, there's something special about knowing that you get to be the first person to play this horn. Another thing I should mention as an aside, we're going to be doing lots of different presentations and events at IHS. On Tuesday at 5 o'clock, me and Ricco Kuhn, along with Christina Mascher, will be presenting a introduction of sorts to the new Kuhn Innovation horns. So you should join us for that, especially if you want to hear more about the process and how the Innovation horns came about right from the man himself. On Thursday morning at 8 a.m., I will be presenting a presentation on the bias system. Now, I realize in the program, it doesn't have a long explanation as to what bias is. So I realized that it looks like I'm talking about something political or social issues. No, I'm actually talking about the brass instrument analysis system. And it's a system that we use at Houghton Horns to help develop our various horns. And it's just a really fascinating thing to know about. And it's taught me a lot about acoustics. And I want to share some of that with you. So we'll be doing that at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning. At 1 p.m., I will be performing on the Esa-Pekka Salonen concert etude on one of the recitals. It's a very modern piece, I will warn you. I did it because I wanted to do something outside of what I normally do, and I wanted to challenge myself with something very technical and very modern. So I will be performing that at 1 p.m. on Thursday. On Friday afternoon, Karen Houghton and Janet Nye will be presenting one of their very popular talks, the Helpful Horn Hacks. This talk they've presented at TMEA, TBA, Midwest. It draws hundreds of people each time. It's really well done, and if you are a pedagogue, you need to attend their presentation, Helpful Horn Hacks. And then on Saturday, they'll be doing a TMEA All-State Clinic for the high school students who are there on the 4A and 5A etudes. Okay, I have a question here. I have a question about the Marcus Bona backpack. Will it fit a Yamaha 871? Yes, it will, with no problems. You just need to make sure you buy the large bell protector with it. It definitely won't fit the medium or small bell protectors. You need the large bell protector, but it will fit just fine in the backpack. Corey, what horn did you learn on, and do you still have any affection for that brand? My high school horn was a Houghton, and honestly, no, I don't have any affection for the brand. And so I started on a Houghton 179, and I still love them. I didn't read that second one after I said I had no affection for Houghton. Frankly, I think they're a little whiny. I usually don't recommend them, but I do know that not everyone has the same opinions about every single horn. So yeah, on to the Paxman 20M. So the Paxman 20 is very different than anything from Kuhn. The Paxman definitely has I perceive as a broader sound, more lower overtones in it. The horn definitely feels bigger, even though I know the Paxman 20 M bell is way smaller than the bell in any of the Ricco Kuhns. It feels like a bigger horn. This is definitely going to, in my opinion, it would probably blend a little better than the Ricco Kuhn in mixed sections. So if you have a section with some cons and some gyres and maybe someone playing an Alex or something like that, I think the Paxman 20 is just going to be a bit of a better fit there than the Ricco Kuhn. I still like my Kuhn, but this Paxman is a very, very nice horn. And frankly, I don't think the Paxman 20s get enough love. Because yes, I know that it's not a traditional Geyer wrap. It's the Merriweather wrap, which is not Geyer or CRISPA. But it's a very, very good, very stable horn that I think a lot of people ignore because it doesn't look quite right. But that's just my opinion. Now let's try the Paxman 23L. This is completely different. The 23 was Paxman's attempt at a Geyer style horn before the Paxman 27, which is a true Geyer style horn. And then the Paxman 23 ended up being redesigned to help with the ergonomics because the valve cluster used to sit very, very high above the plane of the bell tail, making it ergonomically awkward. So this is the redesigned Paxman 23, and this has the L bell as opposed to the M bell on the Paxman 20. So the 23L, I can say, felt very different from the 20M. For me personally, it was easier to center the notes on the 20M. Some notes on the 23L felt a little hollow to me. They probably wouldn't feel that hollow if I got a chance to learn it and learn to center it a little bit better. This definitely had a broader sound. So if you're looking for something on the broader side of the spectrum, I think this 23L would be very good. Resistance wise, it had less resistance than the 20M. So if you're looking for something larger with a little less resistance, I think the 23L would be good for you. We have another question here from Mark. What are your recommendations for trying out horns in IHS convention settings? Number one, you want to aim for the slow times of the day. So if you're going to a convention and you're at the convention to actually shop for a horn, frankly, I would look out for those times when there are big guest artist master classes going on, because at those times the convention hall, the exhibit halls tend to be totally dead. So that's the best time to come and try a horn without someone blasting the short call directly next to you. The other tip I would give for you is try a lot of horns during that dead time. But before you actually buy anything, you'll want to take it for 10 or 15 minutes into a practice room. And most of the dealers there will let you do that. You'll usually be required to leave something. We take phones. We used to take driver's licenses, but it's easy to leave your driver's license. It's much harder to leave your phone. So we'll usually take your phone and some sort of ID, and we'll let you take the horn for 10 or 15 minutes into a practice room. I wish some people, would like to have more time. They ask, why can't I have it for an hour or two? But you have to remember the exhibit time is precious. And while you're off with this horn for 2 hours, it can't be seen by anybody else coming to the exhibits. Many times people only come to the exhibits once. So that's why most of the exhibitors are not going to let you take it for a long time. But you will get some time to spend with it, get a little comfortable with it, and really make a decision on your own. I hope those recommendations were helpful. Okay, let's move on to a different brand. And what time are we at? 12:36. So we're going to move on to Otto. This is the Dieter Otto Hudson Valley, which I'm just going to be totally honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about. The Dieter Otto Hudson Valley, to me, it's clearly a takeoff of the 180 KJN. It's a Knopf wrap horn. This particular one that Martin Ecker, who's the owner of Dieter Otto, sent, actually has this two-tone bell. It's half copper, half yellow brass, which is something I've never personally seen before. And I have actually, most of these other horns I'm familiar with because I've played other of the same models in the shop. I have never, ever played a Dieter Otto Hudson Valley before. So this will be totally new. Okay, so that was really different. This horn, my first impressions are that it definitely favors the low register over the high. I felt like the low notes came out pretty easily and were nice and open. Some of the higher notes were a little more constrained than I generally like. This horn had probably the more, I don't know what I'm saying, the least heated sound of the horns I've tried so far. So if you're looking for something a little smoother, and this might be the bell, which is half copper, that's doing that. If you're looking for something a little smoother, a little less hot, you know, a little more gentle, I think this horn might be the horn for you. Also, I definitely, when I was playing the scale, I was overblowing the horn a bit. So I think this horn will require some work to not use quite as much air. I think it takes less air than the other horns I've tried. Or it might just take less air than the Paxmans that I tried, which definitely took a lot of air. Okay, let's move on to the Otto 205. As a reminder, I am still monitoring chat, so please leave your questions or comments. So my studio here is pretty small. So having 8 horns around is definitely making things a little tight. I am the first person to try this horn as well also. It has not been touched by anyone since it came in a few days ago. So this horn has a nice milky sound to it. Very smooth again. Even more so than the Hudson Valley I just played. But also even more so than the Hudson Valley I just played. This one really does not take a lot of air to play. This time I was a little more aware of it. I didn't overblow quite as much, but you'll still notice that sometimes when I was getting up towards the top of the staff, the notes were starting to sound a little harsh, which is a key sign that you tend to be overblowing the horn. This is a nice compact wrap. So if you're a smaller person looking for something a little more accessible ergonomically, at least in the Geyer style world, where Geyer style horns tend to have large, big wraps, this horn is definitely something you should take a look at. And being a medium bell Geyer style horn, again, it has a very nice milky sound. So definitely something to take a look at if that's what you're after. Okay, let me see what I have left. I have done 2 Paxmans. I have done I've done the Dieter Ottos. Okay, so I have 2 more horns to go. This is the LDx5 Rhenish anniversary model. So just to tell you what all of those words mean, LDx5, a horn built between a collaboration between Steve Lewis in Chicago and Weimar-Berlin in Germany. It uses Meinl valves and a Lewis pipe. The horn is built in Germany, so that's where we import them from. The Rhenish is a modification that we asked Dirk to make. The F branch is soldered all along the top here. And what that does is it makes the sound a little more compact and complex. And the anniversary model has some changes made to improve the handling of the horn. So let's hear it. So this is definitely one of my favorite horns that I've tried today. It's got a larger, more complex sound, but the horn still has a lot of core in it, which I really like and appreciate. The horn wasn't as responsive as the Ricco Kuhn's, but I think it had, but I think overall, I personally liked the handling and feel of this horn better than the Ottos. I'd say this would be this kind of falls in category of the Paxman 20, where I think this is a great horn if you need to match with a lot of different type of players. I think this horn would blend very, very well. Okay, we have another message here. Hi, Derek. When I found out that you guys had two Ricco Kuhn 293s in stock, I ordered the one with the gold brass lead pipe. It is right now. Well, thank you very much for that order. I would be curious to hear your thoughts on the difference between Kuhn's gold brass and nickel silver lead pipes. So, to the basics here, gold brass is a softer metal than nickel silver. Both have the advantage over yellow brass that they're not susceptible to red rot. If you use a yellow brass pipe long enough, it will eventually rot due to the acids and other chemicals in your saliva. But gold brass and nickel silver are resistant to red rot. So that is why for many manufacturers, those are the two metals of choice. Though I do know a lot of makers still do use yellow brass, like the original Geyers tend to have yellow brass pipes. I have my other horn is a Metlin, and that has a yellow brass pipe. I know Carl Hill and a lot of other makers do use yellow brass pipes. Between gold brass and nickel silver I like better than gold brass because I believe it improves the articulation of the sound. And to my ears, it adds a little more core to the sound. Gold brass is a little more mellow, which is not a bad thing, but it's definitely more mellow. In some ways, I just said the nickel silver had better articulation, but I guess we'll say the nickel silver lead pipes have easier articulation. Some people will say that the articulation on the gold brass is better because it's less pingy and a little rounder and a little more beautiful. That being said, really, there's not that much difference. The metal of your lead pipe does not make a huge difference to the horn overall. I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but it's kind of like a little it adds a little it's a tiny little difference. It's like a difference in I guess it's a difference in having your cupcake with powdered sugar or sprinkles. I'm not sure if that's a good analogy or not, but that's the only thing that came up. It's not something that like, oh, I have a nickel silver pipe, I need to try changing to a gold brass, or I have a gold brass pipe, let me try the same model in nickel silver. Nothing like that. So, here we go. We have another message here. From Mark, I'm interested in the LDx5. I noticed that the price had changed. Does that mean the horn has changed, or it is the same horn? It is the same horn. The exchange rates between the dollar and the euro are much, much better. But that's the only reason why the price changed. You'll notice a lot of the prices have changed recently as we've readjusted them for the fact that the euro is really low against the dollar right now. If that changes, the price will change again. But now's a very good time to buy a German-made horn. Okay, will you please share price ranges for the last 5 or 6 horns that you've demoed? If they're all in the same price range, that info would suffice. Thanks. So let me try to remember everything that I tried. The only brand that had significantly different price ranges were the Kuhn, because the Kuhn had the $11,000 Innovation. It has the $9,000 293, and then it has the $7,500 283. When we moved on to the Paxmans, those are both around $10,000. I guess I should have mentioned that the 23L is a used horn. It's basically in new condition, which is why I included it here. But it is a used horn, and I believe that one is going around mid-8s. So that's a very, very good deal for a slightly used horn. But yeah, the Paxman is basically in the upper $9,000 range. The do I need to? That's I just had thought I need to check the exchange rates between the dollar and the pound right now. Maybe that will go down as well. Okay, then I tried the Ottos. So the Otto 205 is about $8,000. So that's on the lower end of the scale of horns that we've been trying. The only thing less expensive was the 283. And I honestly do not know the price of the Hudson Valley. I included it in this comparison, but that's actually a horn that Martin Ecker, owner of Dieter Otto, shipped to us. And we're just going to transport it to Kingsville, and it's going to be on his table. So I don't actually have a good price for that. And the LDx5 is 93 right now. Did I miss anything, Mary? If I did, let me know more. Okay. But I hope that was the information you were looking for. So yeah, we have one more horn to go, and that is the Engelbert Schmid double. This horn is currently in the mid $10,000 range. So yeah, the Engelbert Schmid is really unlike any other horn in sound or feel. The Engelbert Schmid is extremely easy to play. Of all of the other 8 horns that I've played today, the Engelbert Schmid is the easiest to play, period. Nothing else came close. And it was, in a lot of ways, it was the most responsive horn too. The sound didn't have nearly as much breath or depth to it as a lot of the other horns. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. But I think if you're looking for a horn that just does what you want it to do, is very easy to play, just responds and speaks immediately, I think the Engelbert Schmid would be your choice. So my conclusion out of all of these horns is not to pick a winner or say like, well, this is the best horn and this is the one that you need to get. Clearly, I think it's the Ricco Kuhn Innovation because that's what I currently play. But that's not going to be the case for everyone. And that's one great thing about these symposiums is that you get to come and try a lot of different instruments and see which one is for you. I would always recommend against playing an instrument because so-and-so plays it, or you know, this famous player plays it, or this person recommends it, or this teacher recommends it. Like, you have to try it for yourself and see which one works for you. I try to speak a lot about the sound of each of these horns because the sound is the most important aspect of it. And I played 8 horns, and I believe I got 8 completely different sounds. The stream is ending now, but if you have any more comments in these last minute or two, I'm still here and still willing to answer them. Or otherwise, you can leave a comment on the videos that will be left up. Yeah, 8 horns, 8 different sounds, 8 different options for 8 different people. And I think there is someone for each of these horns who will absolutely love them. Thank you everyone for joining me. And maybe I'll see you in Kingsville, Texas for the IHS symposium. Or if not, I'll see you on the next live stream.